Howdy folks, it's me, Dr. Groovy, Scott Grove, GroovyMusicLessons.com. As everything always is, it's in the title. You guys are in for a rude awakening if you are budding guitarists or just flat out guitarists who have only played in your bedroom, no matter if you're phenomenal or whatever, but you have never played with a band before or even other musicians and so forth, and you're getting ready to for the first time. This very much applies to y'all. You have went and spent all your money on what gives you the coolest tones you've ever had in your life. I can 100% guarantee you that every possible great tone you have will never be used in a live situation because it just can't. Even a recorded situation, if it will not get used either. Let's just put it that way. They will change everything after you're long gone and do their trickery. Every guitar sound you've ever heard on an album or live is not the sound that is coming out of the amplifier. It is totally manipulated by the engineer. Okay? And it has to be. If you are a team player and you're really trying to do the best for the band, then you will understand this. If you're familiar with how an equalizer works, especially something like a 31 band, and you sit around and mess with every frequency there is, you will realize that guitar and other intelligible instruments and even vocals, anything that should be right up front, lives in like the 800 hertz, maybe even the 630 right down there, all the way up to about 2K, 2.5K. Not a real broad frequency, but everybody's fighting for it. If you are one of them people that have an extremely pimped out guitar like this that can do everything, it was not a pimped out guitar when I got it, but hey, it is a monster now. If you're one of those people who have this big huge scoop tone that you've been working on forever and bought 10,000 pedals to make it sound exactly you'll never be able to use that crap live ever in your life. The only couple people in a very specialized form of metal can get away with that, only if they're running about 10,000 watts of power, a whole bunch of power amps and stuff to make that happen, because that will never get through. All the low frequencies will be swallowed up by the bass guitar, and your low end is gone. The sound works in where only one thing can be taking up a certain frequency at a time, and the bass guitar is always going to win when it comes to low frequencies. You will not have those at left if you're playing with the bass player. All those cool low end things you got going on in your amazing sound, and you're tuned down, you got your 8-string guitar, 9-string, those are gone again, unless you are running, I mean, just monster stupid volume where you would have to hide your cabinets in the next county and mic them from there. None of that is going to happen. It is the mid-range frequencies that you're scooping out, which are so flippin' important to be heard and to be making your band sound amazing as a whole. You can spell it with a W or just an H. So you got to bring back the mids, and if you are playing with 2 guitar players, you have to fight over who gets which frequency, because your guitars are going to honestly sound like basically shit by themselves, but once they get mixed in, if you don't do it, the sound engineer will. Whether it's on record, whether it's live, that's the way music is mixed, and it's very much needed. If you're playing major hardcore anything, the best way to do things, if you can, if you are willing, if a guy's over there with a pair of EMG 8185s and is just eating the holy crap out of the 1K, And you might be better off. I'm not going to say might. You will be better off if you're running a lot cleaner tone than what he is with that massive thing going on. Just run a lot less gain if you actually have to have the same kind of pickups. Or better yet, put some P90s in or some single coils or something totally different to offset what he's doing, and it will just be so much more intelligible, and the band will sound 10 times better. And again, you have to give up that signature sound. You will come up with a new signature sound, but not on your own. It's your engineer who will come up with your signature sound. Everybody thinks everybody's so brilliant for a particular sound. It's not them, it's the engineer. Okay, they might create it together in the studio and find one frequency that really brings it all out. So one guy is over there, again with his 81, 85 EMGs, just eating the shit out of the 1K, which is, the prime real estate. So that's a beautiful thing. I mean, you want to pump the mids. That's what we're missing, especially people with single coils. You really want to pump the mids to be heard, because you're going to get lost. If you're in country and everybody's playing single coils and you're doing the old twangy stuff, you might be alright, but you still have to fight for the frequency. So the other guy has to either go for the low mids in the 630, the 800 area, and stay right in there, and let the other guy have the 1 and 2K area, which is, again, the one people really love. And your guitar really is not going to do anything else for you. Everything else will suck up your frequencies, because again, one instrument is going to win a frequency battle. Drums are all over the place. They're going to win everything else. Snare drums are going to hit all over the place. The cymbals takes all your highs. It's like you don't even have them on your amp. You can crank your treble in 10. You're not going to hear it because of the cymbals. It's not that your amp isn't loud enough. It's just somebody else is occupying your frequencies. Two instruments cannot share the same frequency and both be heard. It's an impossible thing. It's like having a beverage. If I had an actual glass here that was 100% full, and then you try to add yours into it, it's the exact same frequency, yours just goes away. Exactly the same with sound. You can't put any more of that frequency in there. Yours will actually disappear as far as people's ears go, and your ears. You will not detect any of that perfect sound that you had at home. Even if you're a little, like I said, a guy in his music room and you finally spent $20,000 to get that perfect sound, you have to start from scratch. When you start playing even in the garage with other people, you're going to learn it real fast. You're going to go, God, why does my stuff sound like, Walmart gear? It's because you have to have settings for home, and you have to have settings for GarageBand gigs. You have to have settings for huge gigs. There's a lot that goes into it. It's an art form, and again, if you help paint the picture, it's a lot easier job for the engineer. So when you get into such things, let me find a amazing patch, which I have plenty of. Wow. Okay, just sifting through a couple more, and I think I'll have it. This one goes in really well. I'm using the Bridge humbucker. Okay, so you have that particular mid frequency in there. Other people can use like a cocked wah, which is this, like the money for nothing thing. Where are you, cocked wah? Oh, my volume pedal. Okay, without it. Now with the cocked wah and with a really strong boost in the mids. Which you think sounds like shit, but that would sound amazing in conjunction with the other tone. Those two tones would work very well together if both people have to have that much flipping gain. That would actually work to everybody's benefit. And that's the way it's going to happen. Whether you actually play the game or not, you can be a contributor to this whole thing, or you can be a real burden. The other thing that's going to happen in the studios, I know a lot of you have heard this because there's some good people here on YouTube that will tell you how the studio stuff works. And same thing with live, but in studio they're basically going to do a direct box on here. They're going to do 2 lines, mic your amp in a couple different situations, and probably get rid of that when you leave. And then they're going to have a clean signal coming out that is just whatever you played, and then they're going to reamp it and put it into a amp and a tone that is going to work for the record, and probably not even tell you about it. And you're going to go, God, my stuff sounds great, because he has the magical ear and knows how to do this. It's a simple thing once you learn it. But it's a very large puzzle, and there are a lot of different frequencies in the whole spectrum of hearing. So you will get a very narrow band of it. And that's just the way it is, kids. So learn to not only get along with everybody else, but you have to learn to find your place in the band and find your place in the frequency spectrum. You may not like it, but then again you will see how much of a huge difference it makes later on when it's coming out the mains or when it's coming out on the album. Same thing with drums. Very rarely do you get to hear the drums anymore, because they will go back and just trigger some great sounds. Electronic drums or just sampled drums, again just triggering those, and replace the sounds of whatever you guys all came up with. They will either quantize or unquantize them just for a natural feel, put everything right in there, and make it sound like a polished product that it should be. You may not like it, but that's the way all records are made these days, and that's what sells. That's the way things are, and it's only going to change more and more and more towards the digital and sampled and reamped and triggered everything. So you got to learn to accept this is music now. Okay, it's always just music, but they are going to change your sounds with or without you. You're not going to win this battle if you try to argue it in any way possible. And possibly think about guitars like this one that used to have 2 humbuckers. Again, let me find a plain old good sound. Well, hell, I could do this. Again, get rid of every effect, every tone, everything. Everything's dimed. Bridge humbucker. Bridge and single coil. Single coil. 4-position humbucker and single. Humbucker. Neck. Okay, now I just pull one switch or one knob. The 2 humbuckers become single coils. All the ones with the silver tops on them are now the single coils. Bridge. These will make a more dramatic statement against another guitar than the cocked wah thing. You don't have to play it clean, but if you play that with your cocked wah sound, it will sound even better in the mix, because it is such a radical departure from these EMGs that you're up against. Okay? Not saying that the EMGs are any better than anything else. These are amazing pickups. 4-position. 4-position with some dirt. Single coil. Okay, it's a great sound, I suppose. Have you seen Junior's Great? Okay, so anyway, in that 5 position. So learn your place in the band, learn your place in the frequency spectrum, analyze a frequency analyzer if you can find one, analyze an EQ, learn what is what, and start playing with people so you can get your real sounds that you are going to need for every possible situation. You won't like it by itself, but when the mix is all together, pure gold, baby. Later.